just take the fire line and revamp the whole thing, because what they had, I don't know if you guys, some of you guys are my age maybe. I'm in my 50s, and back in the 90s, and even in 2000, there was a company called Fire Repel, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. They've been around since the 40s. They were in the United States, and they were a good little company. Lakeland, as you're well aware from what Randy and Graham told you, was primarily an industrial PPE type company. We make a lot of protective clothing for the industrial segment. And when they picked up Fire Repel back in the early 90s, it was a different animal for them, okay? Fire Repel was a good name out in the field, you know, pretty well respected name. If you were in Silvers or aluminized gear back then, it was Fire Repel. They had the market, they dominated the market. Lakeland took it over, really didn't know what to do with it because it's so different from regular PPE. They didn't realize how highly customized fire gear was. I mean, there's no cookie cutter thing out there for you guys. Everybody's picking different things. I mean, it's daunting when you look at all the different choices you guys have out there. He was saying before about, you've been hammered about TPP, THL. It doesn't have to be that crazy. It doesn't have to be that crazy. And they don't have to leave you in the lurch trying to guess, oh, which is good, which one should I get, this one or the other one. We'll try to give you some simple solutions to things like that. So anyways, Lakeland really didn't know what to do with Fire Repel at the time, so it was dying on the vine. So they called me. This is my 8th year now with Lakeland. They called me and I came on board, and like I said, one condition: I want total control over it, and they gave it to me. So here I was in a little playground. So we built it up. We changed the name to Lakeland Fire, and right now we get a nice complement of gear. We get 4 different lines of gear. We have full wildland gear too. I just introduced new wildland gear this year. It's not what you see in there. It's much nicer. We've got a new animal called Dual Certified garment, which is certified to wildland, but it's also certified to the utility portion of Tech Rescue, or the USAR standard. It's a real hot button right now down in the States. That gear seems to be taking off. And all it is gear that you can wear when you don't need full turnout gear. You know, so it's like an extrication suit. That's all it is. But the fact that it's dual certified, they're going crazy over it. But you guys, we've always had those kind of garments available in extrication suits and FR, or even a wildland set of gear you could use for extrication. So anyways, I've been here for about 8 years, and we'll show you our 2 most popular lines. I think that's what you guys are more geared to up here in Halifax. So before I get into that, just give me a little background about you guys. What are you in now? What materials are you in? I know you've been hammered with TPP and THL. Have you narrowed down your selection yet? Let me know where you guys are in the process. You know any materials yet? I'm sorry.
We were going with Globe Extreme. We were in the Advance. Now we're down in the Pioneer, Caldera, and 7100 and Black.
Nice. Nice.
That was currently what we're working with.
Okay. That's, if I had to pick materials to wear in turnout gear, it'd be the Caldera, it'd be the Advance or the Pioneer, and it'd be, you know, Steadyr 3000 or 4000. You're very well served in that. It's proven. It's got history out there. I shouldn't speak so much on the Pioneer because that's relatively new, taken over for the Advance. But so far, what I've seen of it, I like it. It's a nice improvement over the Advance. It's more pliable. It's got a softer hand, so it should be more comfortable for you guys. This is what I've got here, as a matter of fact. These are both Pioneer in the gold and the khaki and black. That's a 2-tone right there. And we've got some PBI Matrix underneath this one, or PBI Combat Flex, rather, underneath that. So those are, you know, I wouldn't try to steer you off that. I think that's the best bang for your buck right there. I really do. You're going to get great TPP and THL numbers, all right? THL, don't live and die by those numbers, okay? They're just there to give you some kind of benchmark as to how these materials perform. But don't put everything on your THL and TPP numbers, okay? Because they vary with different things, the atmosphere, whatever, the ambience in the room, especially THL. The body really can't discern between about 50 THL points, okay? So, yeah, there's some credence to the THL. You want as much breathability as possible. But don't let it be the be-all, end-all, is what I'm saying. Try the gear, the way the gear's cut, the way the gear is put together. That makes a big difference, too, on how well the gear feels and how well it moves with you, okay? So with that said, let's just jump right into the gear. I'm going to start at the top of the line with our Stealth gear here. And you'll see it's very similar to our B2, which is almost identical to your G Extreme, except doesn't have a lot of the little bells and whistles like an adjustable wrister and things like that. We don't get that deep into the weeds. My mantra when I came to Lakeland was to keep it simple, keep everything simple, especially for out in the field, for when you run into repairs or anything like that. We don't want to make anything too complicated. And simple usually works. So that's what we've got here. So this is our Stealth jacket right here, and it's more of a modern look. This has been around for about 5 years now, all right? It's a little bit longer in the back than it is in the front, so it's kind of like a tails coat, if you will. And if you don't like that, this jacket is almost identical. It's our B2, and it's like the G Extreme, okay? It's a 32-inch all the way around, and it has the action back, or the pleated back on it as well. So, but this is our Stealth, and this is our flagship model. This is our top of the line, and which I'd like to see you guys in, all right? So it's a 4-piece. It's got 2 front panels and 2 back panels, okay? So you got your 2 full body panels there, and it's got a top and a lower back panel there, and I'll talk about that later on, all right? I started the collar and I worked my way down, and I'll do it real quick, you know, I'm not gonna belabor this. So stuck with a 3-inch collar, you know, taking full advantage of the way the NFPA writes the standard. 3-inch collar is shorter, you get a better interface with your helmet and your shroud, all right? We're still using a throat tab here because it just gives you better ventilation too once you open it up. You have a lot of overlapping collars, which are cool and nice, but when you want some venting, this is nice because nothing's in the way. You only have to zip it down a little bit to get some venting there, you know, get that heat out of your system. So it's lined with 2 layers of moisture barrier. One is pleated, not pleated, but one is stitched through, so it gives you like a quilting effect, gives you higher TPPs. Same thing in the throat tab, and the throat tab's cut so it scoops down. It really gets out of the way of everything, so it's really nice, especially when you move it to the side. Coming down, we've got 2-piece contour set-in sleeves. Again, very similar to the glove sleeve. A nice curved sleeve, very ergonomic, just like the arm. Pleating the bottom of the sleeve so you get plenty of reach with this. You come down to the wrister, we're using nice deep 5-inch sleeve wells. We're using black neoprene. And standard, we have the black Nomex or Kevlar wrister with the thumb hole in it, okay? And we make these ourselves, we knit these ourselves. So a really nice system here. I'm trying to get as vertical as possible with Lakeland because we got a lot of divisions, we do a lot of things. We knit sleeves, we knit all kinds of things, so we're knitting our own wristers too, all right? So nice low collar, low profile collar, contour cut set-in sleeves. You know, at the top of the shoulders, of course, for CCHR, we give you an extra layer thermal liner up there, so we pass the requirements for that. And we have options for increased thermal protection here. We have the options just like everybody else does for increased thermal protection or whatever you're looking for. So coming down to the jacket again, in the back we have our pleated back feature, okay? So that just gives you extra freedom of movement. You've seen it in other jackets before. So a real nice design there. Also helps to reduce sleeve retraction or coat rise when reaching. You can put this jacket on, you can reach all the way around, your cuff will not retract. That's a real nice thing about that, okay? And the action back gives you that mobility, but it also gives you protection against compression or steam burns up around here. Air is your greatest insulator against heat, so when you flex this like this, these expansion pleats puff out, infusing air into the system, unlike a garment that doesn't have the pleats there. When you move like that, all the materials compress and the air is just pushed out of the garment, so heat transfer is a lot quicker, so you open yourself up to some compression burns up there. So it's an ergonomic feature, and it's kind of a safety feature to it as well. Coming down the front of the coat here, we have our storm flap, about 3 1/4 inches wide. We're using high temp YKK Delman zippers. They just work great. I'm trying to get as much metal off the garment as possible. Okay, so we've stuck with the YKK zippers. Real nice. Got a nice Napoleon pocket feature underneath the storm flap here, which is really nice. So if you want to keep something dry, you can stick it in there. Radio pocket, and this flashlight holder comes standard on all the gear. So you've already got your radio pocket here. It's lined with moisture barrier. All my pockets have pull tabs on it, so you can get that. The radio pocket flap is Velcroed on the 2 corners at the top. So if you want an antenna notch, they're already built in. And that way, if you don't have an antenna notch or you don't have an opening in the flap, so it's not going to let in any water, So a real nice feature there. You can do it on either side, gives you that versatility. This is a universal flashlight holder, so whatever flashlight you have, it's going to fit in it, okay? It's got the clip, it's got the slide for the Survivair, and it's got the big fat strap. So we've got all the bases covered there as far as options go for those things. Coming down to the base pockets, we got a 2x8x8 pocket. All our pockets, all our expansion pockets are lined with Kevlar twill as standard. So everything I'm showing you here is standard on this gear, okay? The only thing that isn't standard on this gear is the two-tone option, because we offer it in a two-tone. I saw Imitex was in here. They offer a two-tone garment now, but we've been doing this for years right now, okay? So it's finally catching on. So really nice pockets. Again, all our expansion pockets lined with Kevlar twill on the bottom for tools or abrasion purposes. And you've got the hand warmer pocket underneath. A real nice feature there, okay? Going to the inside of the coat, because it's got an action back, we've got pleats in the liner system too that correspond with the pleats on the outer shell. So they're out of the way of the SCBA straps. Because if you got a center pleat and you put your SCBA on, then your liner's not going to expand like your outer shell, because the SCBA is just keeping those pleats from being, dynamic. They're more static, they don't move. So we put ours in the right place, so you're getting that full functionality. Everything works in concert together, the shell and the liner system. So really nice there. These are the facings of the coat, and we use breathable moisture barrier for the facings. We're still snapping the liner in. I know people are going with zippers, but the snaps, if you break one snap, you've still got 9 other snaps to hold the liner in place. And it promotes a little bit more air breathability or air flow through the system as well. So we've got that there. The collar attaches, or the liner attaches up underneath the collar with Velcro, and it's the plush side on the liner, so if it detaches, it's not going to rough up against your neck. We've got a liner pocket right there as well. And we have a standard liner opening, or liner port at the bottom. Again, all these things are standard, you don't have to spec them out. So you've got it there if you guys are following 1851, if you have a program like that in place. You've got the 3-year advanced inspection, so they have to go into the liner and do the hydrostatic testing. So you've got that there just to accommodate that. Moving to the back of the jacket, like I said, it's a little longer in the back, but I wanted to put a draw cord in the coat, because I've been doing this for a while, and I see coats out there, and the gear is made to be a little bit baggy. You don't want it tight. Again, air is your greatest insulator against heat, so looser fitting gear is going to offer you a little bit more protection, all right? But the coats seem to be very baggy. And the problem I saw was when guys put their SCBA on in the coat, they pull the straps to the front to click it, they're pulling all the material of the coat to the front. Everything gets bunched up in the front here. Then they snap their SCBA on. That's just, you've got a bunch of material here, it's cumbersome, and it's kind of blocking heat from escaping here. It's your body core where you exert a lot of energy and a lot of heat comes from here. So you want it to breathe as much as possible. But when everything's bunched up like that, it's just going to get hot because you got too many layers folding over each other. So what we've done is we put a draw cord in the back of the coat here, and it's just the shell, so you can cinch that up. It's got barrel locks on it, so you can just tighten it up. You put it on, and all the excess bulk of the jacket is in the back now, so when you put your SCB on, the front of the coat is nice and flat, so it's not cumbersome or anything like that. It's really conducive to better movement. So a really nice feature there. And they don't lock, so when you're bending or moving, it'll give, so it's not going to cut into you, okay? So, again, just to go over real quick, low profile collar with the throat tab, contour cut set in sleeves, nice deep sleeve wells with black wristers and the black neoprene inside, really sharp. High temp Delrin zipper in the front for smooth action, zipper Velcro closure, standard radio pocket, mic strap pockets, and hand warmer pockets as well. And of course, you get that Napoleon pocket and liner inspection. And you've got our exclusive DRD, which is really nice. Most DRD systems, you have to pull the flap and grab a strap, okay? If a firefighter's down and that strap is taut around his body, when you lift this with a glove on, it's gonna be hard to grab that strap. So ours is just, again, keeping everything simple. It just attaches right to the patch. You just pull it off and you're good and ready to go. So again, just trying to keep everything as straightforward and simple as possible, because simple works. And it's got that bevel cut to it, so it's a little higher in the front and it goes down in the back. So it's great for names and things like that. We have a nice contoured letter patch that goes onto the back. Looks really sweet, and you can do it in a contrasting color too. There we go, just like that. So we didn't have the two-tone stuff until I designed the pant. And when I saw the pant and designed the pant, it just occurred to me what I could do with two-tone. And I've been wanting to do that for a while in the fire industry. When I was with Globe, we tried doing it, but it was expensive because it means different cutting thing. And Globe is, I have nothing to say about Globe. I love them. I love working for them. Good company. But it was hard to do things because it's just such a big company. It's a big ship. You know, it takes longer to turn a big ship. We're kind of small. We're a little bit more agile, so we can take those kind of turns. And like I said, it was a playground for me. So I took liberties with what I could do with Lakeland and bringing some new things to the table. So the pant, like the coat, bevel cut higher in the front, lower in the back. Our pants are lower in the front, and they just go a little bit higher in the back. Just a little bit of a bevel. Not a high bib or anything like that, but just a little bit of a rise in the back, okay? Just to maintain that overlap, but you've got the sweeping tail on there, so you've got plenty of overlap when bending. So these are the pants. You can see they've got the little bit bevel cut to it. It's a belt closure. I love the belt closure. Everybody's going to that. And again, I'm trying to get as much metal off the garment as possible. It's got a Velcro fly. We can do a zipper, Velcro, whatever you want. But it's got the belt closure here. I took a couple of belt loops and made them in the pant handle grips. So now you get handles for donning and doffing. So that's kind of a sweet thing there too. And you can exchange this belt. You can do a class 1 belt if you guys are doing any kind of rescue belts, things like that, internal harnesses. Or this is an easy way to go, and I highly recommend it instead of an internal harness, but to each his own. If that's the way you guys want to go, that's fine. But this is less intrusive, it's easier, and it's optional. You don't have to wear it all the time. But if you want to, you can just put it in here. It slips right in here. And we designed it such too that these front 2 belt loops here will break open. They just snap together. So once the weight of you egressing out of a building, if you're tying onto this D-ring and it's right here, these things will deploy. So this D-ring comes further up here, so you'll maintain a center of gravity. If it was static and stuck here, you have a good chance of inverting if you're tied to a rope once you bail out, because you've got all that weight of the SCBA. You're just going to go backwards. So with this here, just a little thing, the belt will automatically pull up here, detach these things, and you'll be more inclined to have a center of gravity and not invert, okay? So just a nice feature there. Moving down, oh, can't forget this while I'm still at the top of the pant. This was something else I did too. Suspenders have been the same forever. It's a belted pant. You might think you don't need suspenders, but I want to give you suspenders anyways, okay? Suspenders are always nice to have on, whether you have a belt or not. So the suspenders, we've got a new suspender we made, and it's just different from other suspenders. Nobody's done anything with suspenders since they came out. So we made them a little bit more ergonomic, and I was doing that for the female firefighters because they wanted it out of the way of the front here because it was irritating. So I figured I'd give it a little bit of a contour. And then I like the backpack straps that people were putting on things, and you got this on your SCBA too. So we figured we'd add this. If you don't like it, you don't have to use it. You can just cut it off if you don't want it. All right, so they're nice contour. They're not padded thick. They're just a little bit wider than 2 inches. It's like a polar bear paw. He's able to walk on thinner ice because he disperses his weight over his big fat paws like a tractor would over a tractor track, whatever you want to call it. They're displacing that weight over a wider area, so it's not as heavy and certain, you're not gonna feel it as much. So really nice how they're padded here and contoured. Again, doing it so it would be out of the way for female firefighters, but also for slipping off your shoulders too. If you attach this and you have these suspenders on, it's like you don't even have suspenders on. You can do cartwheels, you can do anything. The suspenders don't go anywhere. It's a really nice feature. We put a couple of vertical mic loops on it, so they're just really thumb rests. So if you're standing there, you got a place to put your thumbs, or you can hang stuff off it, whatever the case may be, okay? And we attach them differently too. When I worked at Globe, we had the loop attachment, and that was all well and good, but I just took it a step further, and I made them longer, the attachments, and they're segmented into 1-inch strips, and these have 2 at the bottom, so you can wrap them around, you can spread them out, or you can keep them together. But now you have the ability to adjust the suspenders in and out for the size. If you don't want them right in the front here, you can move them out a little bit. If you're bigger too, you can have them spread out more in the back than right in the middle, okay? So multi-adjust suspenders, they adjust in the back so you can find the length that's nice, and you want this up close to your neck. And then they just got the quick ripcord type adjusters right here with the pull tab. So you just pull to adjust. So really nice suspenders, and the way they attach to the pant is really nice too. They're not going to be pulling on one loop. Like I said, you can separate them, you can put them together, you can spread them out. So really nice feature there, and just something different with the suspenders. And again, lightweight, you don't even realize you have them on, especially if you do that clip, all right? So coming down, going to the pockets, 2x10x10 pockets here. Again, pull tabs, lined with Kevlar twill on the inside, so those come as standard. We got a big gusset in the pants, a big square gusset there, so there's no twisting with the leg. You got plenty of movement and plenty of room in the seat. The pants. Now, we pleat our leg, but we pleat our leg a little differently than everybody else. Everybody else that pleats their leg puts the pleats underneath the reinforcement. And to put the reinforcement on, they have to spread the pleats out. They have to make them flat so they can put that reinforcement on. So they're fully expanding the pleats. They're employing the pleats already. So they're really rendered as non-functional pleats. They're giving you that extra room, yeah, but they're not really working. Our pleat is above the knee, okay? We don't have to spread it out and put the knee pad on. So theirs are more, again, here I go using the term dynamic or static. Theirs are more static because they don't move. Ours are more of a dynamic knee pleat. They actually function with you and bellow with you as you bend your knee, okay? So it's a nice approach to ergonomics. It really does work. It's a functioning pleat. And the other thing I did too is one of the scourges out there was abrasion to your side seams and your inside seam on your pants, because you're usually rubbed against walls because you can't see where you're going. So you braid your stitch seam there, or your boots are knocking together, so you braid that. So I just took the back seam, and I just took the seams and I made it one seam and put it in the back of the leg. So there's no side seams at all, okay? So now it's a two-piece leg. You get a top and a bottom. But the nice thing about this was, when I did that, it makes the leg more tubular when you're wearing it, okay? Because your seams aren't out here, so it's not flat. It's more tubular around the leg. So it's more contoured around the lower part of the leg, so you're not walking around with like goalie pads on, okay? It curves to your leg, and it takes the seams out from the side and puts it in the back. So it's out of the way of abrasion. And it had let me exaggerate my reverse boot cut even more too, especially when you're using something like AirShield or Stead Shield for reinforcement, because this stuff won't bend, all right? So if you have a curve there, it's going to be hard to curve the AirShield along with it. But because we've got one seam in the back, we can bring both pieces of the AirShield to here, so we get a nice exaggerated curve. So a nice reverse boot cut in these pants. And then again, you just get more of a tubular effect with the leg because of that seam being in the back, okay? We got our knee reinforcements here. They're shaped a little different. We give you a little bit more on the side here. It's called our side kick panels. Again, because when you're in a building, you can't see much, so you're rubbing against walls. You might use the side of your knee to push on something. So we want to give you that protection there. So we just extended the knee pad a little bit more to the outside to give you that extra cushioning, okay? And that is about it on the pants. The way the pant was cut, because of that top and the bottom, I thought, hey, why not do it two-tone? So we did it, and we put the black on the bottom because the bottom usually gets dirty. So we did that there, and we figured, what can we do on the coat? So we just did the bottom of the sleeves on the coat here to give it a match. So I'm a nut for this, okay? I'm designing our EN gear too, so I look at gear from all around the world. They're really fashion-oriented. It's more fashion than it is almost like gear, you know? I mean, they've got different colors everywhere. They do a lot of different things. Because they're more surround and drown. They're not like you guys, interior kind of guys, okay? They just stay on the outskirts and just pour water on it. But they have some neat features in their gear, so I just wanted to bring some of that aesthetic stuff over to our side. Because turnout gear has been the same thing for so long. I just wanted to shake it up with the two-tone. And then I added some laser piping, and this is our Laser Max trim. We're the first to bring that over, and we use it, and I've got a pat pending on this for where we're using it. And it's just reflective cording that we put in the shoulders and the sleeves, and we put it around the knee. In the B1 pant or the B2 pant, we put it down the side seam. So it really adds that little extra added visibility, especially on the roads at night. You're like Joe's stick figure now. You wouldn't believe how this stuff pops, even in low light. If you had a flashlight right now and you just put it up to your head and looked at this, you wouldn't believe how it screams. It almost looks like it's powered. So a really nice feature there. We're starting to have some people copy us, and that's fine, but like I said, I'm trying to protect that a little bit with the patent pending, but we'll see where the chips fall. So again, kind of nice, aesthetically pleasing, but comfortable. Is anybody a size? I'd love somebody to try the jacket or the pant if you guys want. Feel free to come up and try it.
Don't show us that stuff.
Yeah, I'll show you that stuff real quick.
That was a 44 over there, the stealth coat.
And this is a 46, okay? So I got a 44, I got a 46. This is our B2. Again, this is a nice set of gear too. I could have stopped with this and we'd have been fine. This is a workhorse. This is like the GX7, it's like the Globe G Extreme. It's like the Firedex FX. It's like just, everybody's got a 32-inch coat out there, okay? And with a pleated back of some kind. I'm sure almost every manufacturer that came through here had something similar to this. So this is our B2 32-inch coat. Again, very similar to the Stealth, all the same standard features, just doesn't have the draw cord and doesn't have the extended back. But everything else it has that you saw on the Stealth. So again, fully loaded. This is all standard. This is our B2. You can get it off the shelf or we can custom make it for you. But everything you see here is standard, so you don't have to spec it out. If you want something different, that's fine. I offer options, but I'm trying to give everybody a quick solution that answers. It's an 80-20 rule. I answer, 20, I've got, how does that go again? 20, I always have to think about that. I've got 20% of the options that are ordered 80% of the time. So again, this will do it all for you. But if there's something else you need on there, that's fine too. The B2 pant, again, very similar. Because the coat doesn't sweep down in the back, it's got the bib in the back. Again, pretty close to the GX7. The G Extreme doesn't have it, but the G Extreme is more like my Stealth pant. It goes up in the back, okay? But the same things here. You get the belt, you get the same suspenders, you get this. The only real difference is this is more of a conventional pant. It doesn't have a lower leg system, okay? This is just like everybody else's. It's a front and a back panel, okay? But you get the same kind of knee reinforcements. So that's the difference between the B2 and the Stealth. Again, not too much of a difference, but just a little bit enough there. But I really think you guys would be well served in something like the Stealth. Any other questions? I know I went through that quick, but you guys have been through this so many times. I'm sure you just look and you can see what I'm talking about. Now it's time for question and answers and touch and feel. Try it on. I encourage you to do that.
On your dual color coat there, are you using the same fabric in both, or do you interchange?
Yes,
them
sir.
all, or you
Yes.
always keep the same?
I thought about doing something different, maybe using an inferior, maybe going down to a Nomex or something, or advanced when I'm using PBI, but we're just sticking with the same materials. Because it would make sense on a pant, because you don't need as much protection on the lower leg. You got a 14-inch boot on, okay? But again, why bother? That might give the impression I'm trying to skimp on some things by using a lesser. But no, if you do a two-tone, this color is always going to be black, and this will be whatever. This is both Pioneer, so that's black Pioneer and that's khaki Pioneer. But if you want this to be, khaki and this to be gold or black, I'll switch colors for you. But predominantly, we're getting the people ordering black. It's funny, we introduced that like 3 years ago. Oh, even longer than that, the two-tone. The laser trim is new. That's only been a couple of years. Actually, it's almost 3 years now since we've had that. But the two-tone, when we first started that, we'd bring it out and throw it on the table. And guys would look at it and look at each other and say, nah. And then by the end, they're like, we really like that. We want to see that. So it's different. It's not for everybody, but it's there if you want. If you want it full one color, not a problem. Not a problem. But just wanted to dress it up a little bit and, make you guys look sharp, look good out there. I think you feel better if you look decent, you feel good. It's just a psyche thing, but I think there's validity to it.
What's the added cost for having the Class 1 belt on the gear?
The Class 1, you're just paying for the belt because the loops are already there.
So what's the ballpark on the belt?
The Class 1 belt,
So US dollars will convert it for you.
Yeah, God, I don't know. Probably not even $100.
Okay.
It's pretty reasonable, you know? And it's nice to have, you know, it already accepts it, and it's a nice thing to have. I think it's the way to go instead of a Class 2 harness. A Class 2 harness integrated in your pant all the time, it's just, I wouldn't want to wear it all the time, you know? You have something like that, you can wear it all the time, and man, you're just using it for bailing out, right? You're not doing picks, you're not rescuing people, maybe you will, I don't know. But they're just for egress, so quick and easy and not as intrusive and damaging to your gear too, because it's one on the outside where an internal harness would be inside between the layers. So
Yeah, that-
really nice, cost-effective way to go. It's
That
gonna give you a
internal
signal.
harness really wears on your moisture barrier, and in fact, you kind of lose your warranty on it because it destroys the moisture barrier.
That's why they've come out with the Crosstech 3-layer to kind of address some of those things. But everything like that is pumping the price of the gear up. Why I do this and throw everything into the gear, it's cheaper for me to manufacture it that way, okay? Because right now, you're different from these guys, you're different from these guys. That just sends the price soaring for manufacturers. Because you know how it is, it's cheaper for manufacturers to cookie cut things. It's more cost effective for them. And my whole thing is trying to get you guys good gear for the least amount of money as possible. So we're doing some things that are different here, but they're cost-effective things. They're not things that are pushing the price of this garment out over the top. And that's what I'm trying to do, because I think it's coming to a point. We're at a point right now where gear, somebody was on the phone with me the other day saying his department's paying $5 grand for a set of gear. I said, $5 grand? You gotta be kidding me. I've seen $3 grand, you know, which I think is still outrageous, but gear's not getting any cheaper. But the way things are going, do you really want to spend that much money on something that's probably going to be contaminated, you know doesn't last long? It's got a finite lifespan now of 10 years if you're 1851 type department for that 10-year requirement. I think it's going the other way. The stuff you guys are exposed to now, I mean, you're exposed every day to something new coming out. Something's made, it's got different kind of materials in it. It burns different, might burn hotter. The off gases might be different. It might contaminate your gear. So I'm trying to make it cost effective so it's not much of a hit for you guys if you have to replace gear. And that's where I think it should go, instead of building the gear into a super set of gear. Because it's not gonna be. We can only protect you guys so much, okay? It's not Superman's cape. That's the thing I'm worried about. People put this on, they think they can do anything. You can't. It still comes with training. So I'm just afraid it's going in the wrong direction. Because with everything coming out now, particulates, carcinogens, and things like that, it's about cleaning your gear and getting the most bang for your buck out of your gear. It might even come to a point where gear is kind of limited use. You know, you're using it for a couple of fires, then you have to get rid of it because of the elements you're exposed to. Who knows? I don't know. But right now, I just see price creep and things getting more and more expensive. And I don't see them adding anything to the benefit, okay? It's just a lot of Me Too's out there for the sake of changing something and saying it's improved. But has it really? Is it really added to the benefit for you guys? Or is it just pricing you out of gear? So trying to keep it simple. Everything there, like I said, is standard. It gets cheaper for me to make or more cost effective for me to make. I don't want to say cheaper. So again, just trying to get you guys into good gear for the least amount of money. Really spread out the bang for your buck. So you can put more money into boots, better gloves, better helmets, whatever the case may be.
Talk about your sizing. How are you guys doing that?
Sizing, I prefer to use sizing samples. We have a full complement of sizing samples. We come in here, you guys try the actual gear on. Then we just look at it and it's easy. If the pant fits but it needs 2 inches, you need 2 inches added to the length.
What increments do you do as far as arm length?
Arms, we go inch.
Okay.
It's easier, you know, if going fraction of an inch is kind of a nightmare. And 1 inch increments is fine on the sleeves. We've never had any complaints. Chest, 2 inch increments, you know. Same with inseams, 2 inch increments on the waist and the inseams.
Stitching, manufacturing wise, you want to mention stitching?
Stitching, again, I come from Globe where I think they built the gear really, really well. That's why I came over to Lakeland that's why I came over to Lakeland and took over Fire Repel, because they were building it right, but the design sucked, okay? The design was lacking, but they were putting it together right. They're double stitching everything, 8 to 10 stitches per inch. You know, and I think just about everybody's 8 to 10 stitches per inch now. There's some that are still using about 6 to 8 stitches per inch. But I'm not gonna knock too many people on that. But double stitch all the way through, 8 to 10 stitches per inch, no joint stitching, things like that. Everything is graded to size, all right? Have you guys heard anything about Lakeland that you have questions about? Anybody tell you anything about us? Okay.
No, it's the same, we haven't heard as much about the bunker gear. We're familiar with some of the hazmat products, but.
Yeah. We are kind of new. It was Fire Repel for many years, but even people didn't know who Fire Repel was. It wasn't predominant, like the Globes or the Janesvilles or the Honeywells. You know, they're the big names. But I've had 15 years at Globe. Again, ran the gamut. I've got a partner that works with me. He was at Globe for about 8 years. Then we have another guy. He was with us for a little while too. So we've got some cumulative years of experience here. We got some nice gear. We've been getting a lot of great compliments out in the field. One thing I want to tell you about too, if you guys are familiar with the Fire Fit or the Combat Challenge, if you guys go to any one of those races, watch how many guys are in Lakeland gear. It's amazing. I sponsored a couple of firefighters about 5 years ago. I started with one, Sean Fitzgerald, put him in my gear, put him in a Stealth. Then the next year after that, put him in the Stealth 2-tone. All of a sudden, I started getting calls from these guys, hey, you know. So we put a program together. I've sold so much Combat Challenge race gear, and the guys rave about it. They say, this is the best gear we've ever worn. That they go up the stairs. They said, I can't believe how well the pants function, everything. I mean, it was great for me because it really validated what I was doing. But these guys are some of the most physically fit guys out there. The guys that race in the Combat Challenge and the Fire Fit, and them giving testimonials like that to our gear was just, it really made my day, you know, because they're raving about it, and the proof's in the pudding. We've been doing this is my 3rd year now. We've probably got over 120 racers out there right now in our gear, and you can tell which ones they are too, because they have the laser trim on it, they've got the 2-tone, except for Huntley and things like that, who are all black with the 2-tone. Oh man, and with the logos, we put logos all over it. It looks like NASCAR. The guys really like it, but they're buying it because it works. It really works for them. They're comfortable in it, and like I said, I'm trying to keep it as light as possible too, but I can add the thermal reinforcements you guys are looking for. The knees are standard, you know, 2 layers of padding underneath, and we can do FR foam padding if you want. I've got the same toys everybody else has to play with, but again, those are just the standard features that we were showing you today. We can customize it to your liking, but I think we got a lot of the bases covered here.
What's your delivery time?
Right now, I'm probably about 6 to 8 weeks, but we're coming towards the end of the year. I don't know when you guys are planning on purchasing. You know, we get the 2-week vacation break. I got a couple of big orders coming in that might eat up some production, but we're pretty good. We're not bad. We're about 6 weeks or sooner right now, you know. And
We
we've
have
got
to translate into Canadian, that's probably 8 to 10 weeks.
Yeah.
right. And this one, I don't know where you guys are leaning, but this, you know, is also stocked exactly how you see it. All right, this set of gear right here. It's a stock program. All right, all the features you see. So that's available. It's on the shelf.
What's your capacity? I think we asked, somebody asked that. What's your
Daily
capacity?
capacity production?
Capacity. Let me see. Probably about 50. Do you want a week or a day?
Day.
A day. Probably about 50 sets a day.
Who's using your gear right now?
Let me see. I just got Gary, Indiana. I had Augusta in Maine. We've got St. John's in Florida. Who else we got? We got West Palm Beach. No, that wasn't West Palm Beach. It was Boynton Beach, I think, down in Florida. We got a bunch off the top of my head. What have you got up here that they would recognize?
Swift Current, Saskatchewan is in our stealth. The Burlington, Ontario's composite department, and their paid on call are in our B2.
I just sized up Cheyenne, Wyoming, a couple of weeks ago. We've got a bunch. I don't have trophy departments because that's not in my sights. I don't go after New York or things like that. I would, but it's just such a resource drain. You know, I like the mid to small departments because they're more appreciative for the gear they get. You know, they're easier to work with. The big departments, the left doesn't know what the right is doing, and they're so pined for that the competition in this business gets really dirty sometimes. I mean, I don't like it, especially in big bid situations. And there's too much going on, so we'll participate in big bids, but I like the mid-size to small departments. They're easy to work with.
Do you have a hot shot or an emergency program? So if I go looking for a set of gear, like I need set of gear right away?
Yeah, like I said, I've got three different models we stock on the shelf, that being the best stock gear. Then I've got a real low end for academies and industrial use. And then I've got a middle of the road that's like this, but it doesn't have the ergonomic pleats in the knees or the back.
If we were
It's
looking
just
for
straight.
a set in predominantly a larger size, you know, like I need one, somebody's gears hasn't passed inspection, and
Mhm.
I need one off right now.
Mhm.
How fast can we get something like that?
I'll rush it through production. You know, we'll give you special treatment, especially somebody like a Halifax. I want to be good to you guys, you know, because I get a lot of play off of a good name like that. So we'll treat you right. I've got resources available to me, so I can set one guy up doing the bulk of manufacturing, and I've got one other that's kind of more specialty to attack things like that.
We also stock in Canada, in Brantford, Ontario. We would stock up to size 56, again, just in our stock program.
Oh man, that DRD. Hey,
Yeah,
don't mind me, I'm
stock
just gonna
program.
pull this DRD back into place, man.
Currently, our stock program is the same as the US's, but next year it
There you go.
updates.
And this hasn't been washed yet, so.
Just different enough where you have some different things in stock. I'll likely have the B2 as you see it, and then I'll have a B1, which will be the less expensive. But what would you guys be after?
Your DRD, is it the full width strap or is it?
Yes, yes. It's a full Yako strap, okay? I didn't go with the articulated or whatever. Some people trying to get away from the Yako patent. The stuff I've seen is just, you know, you go with that, it's, like I said, it's not intrusive, you don't even recognize it's in there. Now you can reach out, you're gonna see your cuff won't retract, it's not gonna move, it's not gonna go anywhere.
And then your Stealth with the trim, do you get that trim pattern on the?
Oh yeah, that's just optional.
Okay.
This is just optional, but as standard, that's what I've got priced into it. So to get up to this is not much of a jump, okay? But those are just the standard features on that. Like I said, you can add to that, and that trim is definitely part of it, so.
And if we're looking maybe stripping down those front pockets on the jacket, that's,
No problem. You're the first department I've ever heard that wanted to get rid of some pockets. Usually everybody wants to add a few freaking pockets, you know?
You find with the BAs and stuff like that, these can get
Try it.
filled and.
they're used.
I try to design it low as possible to get them out of the way of the SCBA, and it works for the most part with most of them. But it depends on what kind of SCBA you're using.
Well, look, upstairs. Leg's pretty good. I get that.
No, we don't.
No?
Would be
It's just, it's empty.
We're gonna say.
Well, that's part of it, that's a part of it.
So your knee patches, what would be the cost for a replacement patch on those?
On an AirShield knee,